Interrupting someone feels wrong, right? Like the moment you open your mouth while someone else is speaking, your brain immediately says, wait, that's rude. So you stop, you stay quiet, and then something interesting happens. The conversation keeps going without you, and your idea, gone, lost. Not because it wasn't good, but because you didn't say it at the right moment. Now here's the surprising part. In real English conversations, people interrupt each other all the time, not in a rude way, but in a natural way, a respectful way, a way that actually keeps the conversation alive. Hello, my best students. Welcome back to your channel, Native Flow. Today, we're going to talk about something that most learners avoid, but really need. How to interrupt politely in English. Because the truth is, if you never interrupt, you never fully join the conversation. You stay on the outside, listening, waiting, missing your moment. So in this video, you're going to learn how to enter conversations naturally, how to add your idea without sounding aggressive, and how to stay part of the discussion without feeling uncomfortable. No complicated expressions, no formal textbook language, just real English, the way people actually speak. So relax, listen carefully, and imagine yourself inside these situations. Because once you understand this, you won't hesitate anymore. You'll know exactly when and how to speak. All right, let's get into it. So, let's start with something simple. Interrupting politely is not about stopping someone, it's about joining the conversation without breaking it. That's the difference. When interruption feels rude, it's usually because it's sudden, too direct, too strong. But when it feels natural, it's soft, it's controlled, and most importantly, it shows respect. Now here's the first thing you need to understand. You don't interrupt with big sentences. You interrupt with small signals, very small signals, words that prepare the other person for your voice. Let's start with one of the most common ones. Sorry. Yes, just that. Sorry. This is one of the easiest ways to enter a conversation because it softens everything. Example, someone is speaking. You need to say something. You say, sorry. Pause slightly, then continue. Sorry. Can I add something? That feels natural. It doesn't feel aggressive. It doesn't feel rude. It feels respectful. Now let's look at another one. Excuse me. This is slightly more formal, but still very useful, especially in situations where you don't know the person well. Example, excuse me, can I just say something? Again, notice the structure. You don't jump directly into your idea. You prepare the moment. You signal your intention, and that gives the other person time to stop. Now let's go deeper, because sometimes you don't want to fully stop the person. You just want to gently enter. In that case, you can say, can I just jump in for a second? This is very natural, very common, and very smooth. Example, can I just jump in for a second? I think we should consider another option. That feels like a conversation, not an interruption. Now something very important. Your tone matters more than your words. If you say, sorry, can I add something? In a calm tone, it feels polite. If you say the same sentence fast and strong, it feels pushy. So always remember, slow down, keep your voice soft, and give space. Now let's move to another useful phrase. Just a second. This is used when you need a quick moment. Example, just a second. I want to say something here. Short, direct, but still polite, because of the tone. Now let's combine things. Because in real conversations, people don't always use just one phrase. They mix them. For example, sorry, just a second, can I add something? This gives you a very smooth entry. It shows respect, and confidence. Now let's look at something many learners do wrong. They wait too long, they try to be too polite, and because of that, they miss their moment. But polite interruption is not about waiting forever. It's about timing. You don't interrupt in the middle of an important sentence. You wait for a small pause, a natural break, and then you enter. This is a skill, and it improves with practice. Now imagine this situation. Two people are talking. One finishes a sentence. There is a small pause. That is your moment. You say, "Sorry, can I say something?" And you enter. Simple. Now let's go into a real example. Person A. I think we should focus more on this idea because it has more potential and small pause. You say, "Sorry, can I just add something?" They stop. They listen. You speak. No problem. No tension. Now let's move to something more advanced. Sometimes you don't want to stop the conversation. You just want to connect your idea to what is being said. In that case, you can use, "Actually, this is very powerful." Example. "Actually, I had a similar thought." Now you are not interrupting. You are joining. That feels very natural. Now let's add another one. Just to add to that, "This is perfect in discussions." It shows respect. It shows connection. Example. Just to add to that, I think we should also look at another option. Now you are building the conversation, not breaking it. Now, here's something very important. Interrupting politely is not about asking permission every time. It's about balance. Sometimes you ask, "Can I say something?" Sometimes you enter directly. Actually, both are correct. The key is how you say it. Now, let's summarize what you learned in this part. To interrupt politely, you use soft signals. You prepare the moment. You enter at the right time. And you keep your tone calm. You don't need complex English. You don't need perfect sentences. You just need control. And once you have that control, interrupting no longer feels uncomfortable. It feels natural. It feels part of the conversation. And that's exactly what you want. Not to stop people, but to be part of the exchange. Because conversations are not about waiting. They are about participating. And learning how to interrupt politely is one of the most important steps to becoming a real speaker. Now let's move into real-life situations, because interrupting politely is not the same in every context. The way you speak with a friend is not the same as the way you speak in a meeting, and the way you interrupt someone you know well is different from interrupting someone you don't know. So in this part, we're going to explore how to adapt your interruption, depending on the situation. Let's start with the easiest one, talking with friends. This is where interruption feels the most natural. Because the environment is relaxed, people interrupt each other more often, and there is less pressure. In this situation, you don't need to be too formal. You can use simple, direct phrases. For example, wait, let me say something. Or, hold on, I have an idea. These are very common, very natural, and they don't feel rude because the tone is friendly. Now imagine this situation. Your friend is telling a story. You suddenly remember something related. You say, "Wait, that reminds me," and then you continue. That's a natural interruption. It doesn't break the conversation, it adds to it. Now let's move to a slightly different situation. Talking with people you don't know well. This requires more care, more softness, because here, tone and choice of words matter more. Instead of saying, "Wait," you say, "Sorry, can I just say something?" Or, "Excuse me, can I add something?" These phrases create distance from direct interruption. They show respect, and they give the other person a choice. Now imagine you are in a conversation with someone new. They are explaining something. You want to clarify a point. You say, "Sorry, can I just ask something?" That feels polite. It feels appropriate. And it keeps the conversation comfortable. Now let's go into a more challenging situation. Work or professional environments. Here, interrupting can feel even more difficult because there is more structure, more expectations, and sometimes more pressure. But the truth is, interrupting is still part of communication. You just need to do it more carefully, more strategically. Let's look at some useful phrases. Sorry to interrupt, but this is very common in professional English. Example, sorry to interrupt, but I think we should consider another option. This phrase is powerful because it acknowledges the interruption and then moves directly to your idea. Now another one. Can I just add something here? This is softer, less direct, and very effective in meetings. Example, can I just add something here? I think we might need more time. Now, something important. In professional situations, timing becomes even more important. You don't interrupt randomly. You wait for a small pause, a natural break, and then you enter. This shows awareness. It shows control, and it makes your interruption feel smoother. Now let's look at group discussions. This is where many learners feel lost because there are multiple voices, multiple ideas, and it's hard to find the right moment. But here's the key. You don't wait for silence. You create a soft entry. For example, yeah, just to add something, or actually, can I say something? These phrases help you enter without forcing the conversation to stop. Now imagine this situation. Several people are talking. You want to share an idea. You say, actually, I think we should look at this from another angle. Now you are part of the discussion without being aggressive. Now let's go deeper, because sometimes you need to interrupt for a reason, not just to add an idea, but to correct something or to clarify something important. This is more sensitive because correction can feel negative. So you need to be even more careful. You can say, sorry, I think there might be a small mistake here, or just to clarify. These phrases soften the correction. They make it constructive, not confrontational. Now let's take a real example. Someone says, we will meet on Monday at 10. But you know the meeting is at 9. You say, sorry, just to clarify, I think the meeting is at 9. This feels respectful, clear, and helpful. Now let's move to another situation. You need to stop someone because time is limited. This can feel uncomfortable, but it's sometimes necessary. In that case, you can say, sorry, can we come back to this later? Or, I'm sorry to stop you, but we're running out of time. These phrases show that you respect the person, but you also manage the situation. Now, here's something very important. Interrupting politely is not only about language, it's about intention. If your intention is to contribute, to help, to connect, your interruption will feel natural. But if your intention is to dominate, to control, or to rush, it will feel uncomfortable, even if your words are correct. So always focus on the purpose. Why are you interrupting? To add value, to clarify, to move the conversation forward. Now let's summarize this part. Different situations require different levels of politeness. With friends, you can be more relaxed. With new people, you need to be softer. In professional settings, you need to be more structured. But in all cases, the principles stay the same. Be clear, be respectful, choose the right moment, and keep your tone calm. Once you understand this, interrupting becomes easier. Not something you avoid, but something you manage. And that's what makes you more confident in real conversations. Now let's move to a more advanced level, because at this point, you already know the phrases, you understand the situations, but real conversations are not always clean and structured. They are fast. They overlap. People speak at the same time. They change ideas quickly. And this is where interruption becomes less about words and more about control. Control of timing, control of energy, control of your presence in the conversation. Let's start with something very real: overlapping speech. This happens when two people start speaking at the same time. Many learners panic here. They stop immediately, they give space, and they lose their turn. But native speakers don't always do that. They manage the moment. If you start speaking at the same time as someone else, you don't need to disappear. You can say, "Oh, sorry, go ahead," or "No, you go." This shows awareness, it shows politeness, and it keeps the interaction smooth. But here's something important. If you always step back, you will rarely speak. So sometimes you continue, but you soften it. You say, "Actually, let me just finish this point." This is not aggressive, it's controlled. It shows that you have something to say and you want to complete it. Now let's go deeper, because interruption is not always about entering. Sometimes it's about guiding the conversation. For example, the conversation is going off topic. You want to bring it back. You can say, "Sorry," just to bring us back to the main point. This is very useful, especially in discussions. It shows leadership, but in a polite way. Now another situation. Someone is speaking for too long. You need to step in, not to stop them, but to move forward. You can say, "Sorry to jump in, but maybe we should move to the next point." This is respectful, clear, and effective. Now let's look at confidence, because this is where everything connects. Many learners know what to say, but they hesitate, not because they don't know the phrase, but because they don't feel confident using it. And confidence here does not come from perfect English. It comes from repetition, from experience, from using these phrases in real moments. At first, you will hesitate. You will think too much. You will wait too long. That's normal. But each time you try, you improve. Each time you enter a conversation, you build confidence. Now let's talk about something very important: your mindset during interruption. If you think, "I'm disturbing the conversation," you will hesitate. If you think, "I'm adding to the conversation," you will act differently. Same situation, different result. So change the way you see interruption. You are not stopping the flow, you are becoming part of it. Now let's go into a real example, a natural conversation. Person A: "I think we should focus more on this idea because it's more efficient," and you: "Sorry, can I just add something?" Person A: "Yeah, sure." You: "I think it's a good idea, but maybe we should also consider the risks." This is a clean interruption. It doesn't break the conversation. It improves it. Now let's make it more dynamic. Group discussion. Person A: "We need to finish this today." Person B: "Yes, but it might take longer." You: "Actually, I think we can find a middle solution." Now you are not just interrupting, you are contributing, and that's the goal. Now let's talk about speed, because conversations move fast, and if you wait too long, your moment disappears. So you need to react quickly, not with long sentences, but with short entry phrases. "Sorry," "Actually," "Wait." These are your tools. Use them. Don't overthink them. Now here's something important. Interrupting politely is not about being perfect every time. Sometimes you will interrupt at the wrong moment. Sometimes your tone will not be ideal. That's okay. What matters is consistency, practice, and awareness. Now let's look at something deeper. Fluency in conversation is not about speaking a lot. It's about being present, being active, being part of the exchange. And interruption is part of that. Because conversations are not linear. They move, they shift, they evolve, and you need to move with them. Now imagine two learners. One waits for silence. The other enters when needed. The first speaks less. The second speaks more. And over time, the second improves faster. Not because of better vocabulary, but because of more participation. And that's the key. Participation creates progress. Now let's summarize this part. At an advanced level, interrupting is not just about phrases. It's about control, timing, confidence, and intention. You don't interrupt to stop. You interrupt to connect, to guide, to contribute. And once you understand this, you stop fearing interruption. You start using it naturally as part of your communication. And that is what makes you sound like a real speaker. Now, before we finish, there's something deeper behind everything you've learned in this video. Because interrupting politely is not just a communication skill. It's a shift in how you see yourself inside a conversation. Most learners believe that good communication means waiting for the perfect moment, waiting until the other person completely finishes, waiting until they feel ready. But real conversations don't work like that. They move, they overlap, they evolve in real time. And if you only wait, you slowly disappear from that movement, not because you don't have ideas, but because you don't place them into the conversation. And that's where interruption becomes important, not as something negative, but as something necessary, something that allows you to exist inside the exchange. Because the truth is, if you never interrupt, you will never fully participate. You will always stay one step behind, listening, thinking, but not acting. And over time, that creates distance. Distance from the conversation, distance from confidence, and even distance from your own voice. So instead of asking, is it rude to interrupt? You start asking, how can I interrupt in a way that adds value? And that changes everything. Because now your focus is not on avoiding interruption, but on using it correctly. Now let's go deeper. Think about how conversations feel when they flow naturally. People respond quickly. They react. They add ideas. They adjust to each other. There is energy. There is movement. And that movement is built on small interruptions, not aggressive ones, but small, respectful entries. Moments where someone says, sorry, can I add something? Or, actually, I think. These moments don't break the conversation. They build it. They create interaction. They create connection. And once you understand this, you stop fearing those moments. You start using them. Now, here's something very important. Your role in a conversation is not to be perfect. It's to be present. And being present means responding in real time, not preparing in silence, not waiting for the perfect sentence, but reacting when the moment comes, even if your sentence is simple, even if it's not perfect, because communication is not judged by complexity. It is felt through connection. Now let's bring this into your daily practice. From now on, when you are in a conversation in English, don't focus only on what you want to say. Focus on when you say it. Look for small pauses. Look for natural breaks. And when you see your moment, take it. Use a simple phrase. Enter the conversation and continue. At first, you might feel a little uncomfortable. You might hesitate. You might think, was that the right moment? That's normal, because you are building a new habit, and habits take time. But with each conversation, with each moment where you choose to participate, instead of staying silent, you grow. You become more aware, more confident, more natural, and slowly, interrupting no longer feels like interruption. It feels like conversation. Now let's connect everything you've learned. You know how to start politely. You know how to adapt to different situations. You know how to manage timing. You know how to stay calm and controlled. And most importantly, You understand that interruption is not the problem. Silence is. Not silence because you are listening, but silence because you are afraid to act. And once you remove that fear, everything changes. You stop overthinking. You stop waiting. You start participating. And participation is what creates fluency. Because fluency is not built by studying alone. It is built through interaction, through real moments, through real conversations. And interruption is part of that. It's part of the rhythm, part of the flow, part of the way people communicate naturally. So don't try to avoid it. Learn to use it respectfully, confidently, and with intention. Because once you do, you will notice something important. People respond to you differently. They listen, they engage, they include you more. Because now, you are not just someone who understands English. You are someone who uses it in real time, in real situations. And that is what makes your English real, not perfect, not advanced, but real. And once your English becomes real, everything becomes easier. You feel more comfortable, more connected, more confident. Not because you changed everything, but because you changed one small habit. You stopped waiting, and you started speaking at the right moment. So next time you're in a conversation and you feel that moment, that small opportunity, don't let it pass. Use it. Enter the conversation and make your voice part of it. Because that's exactly where your progress is waiting.